Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. There we go. Good morning. We are doing a late episode of Morning Motivation with Morley Career Solutions. Today, we are why it matters and why it's so important for your career search. And we're not talking about like making up stories, but we're talking about how well can you tell a true story. I got an email the other day from someone who was concerned that they might be boring during job interviews. And I said, well, I bet that's not the case, but oftentimes how boring we are perceived to be is often really related to how well we can tell a story. So, are you practicing storytelling in terms of your career or in terms of your communication skills? What do I mean by storytelling? Well, what I mean is, do you have the ability to identify an example or a specific in your career, in your life, and talk about that in a compelling way? What makes a compelling story? Well, a compelling story usually has a point to it. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. You include enough details that it it engages and interests the person who's listening to you, but not too many details so that it starts to confuse them or overwhelm them. What's really important in the career space about storytelling is, does your story come to some kind of a conclusion? Does it show that you have learned something, or does it have a moral or point to it? All of those things are very important. This is something we use in interviewing. It's something that we use in your resume. It's something that you use when you're simply trying to argue, oftentimes for promotion or for something to be the way that you want it to be. A good story is a strong piece of evidence that you can use. And oftentimes, outside of those of us who are former English professors like me, um, outside of that, people don't think too much about storytelling when it is a really important skill. So, how are some ways that you can improve your storytelling? Well, something that I tell a lot of my clients is to identify a few of these stories of your life, or if you're specifically talking about career, you can identify career stories. Identify a few of those moments that were really impactful for one reason or another, and get really good at telling the story, the what actually happened. This is the beginning, middle, and end part, the ensuring that you have enough details part. Get really good at telling that story. If you're like me, the thing that you're going to have to work on is to ensure that you don't have too many squirrels or side stories that you're pursuing along the way. And get really good at telling that story. And the way that you get really good at it is you practice. I know that Jeannie Rapstead, she is a Toastmaster award winner, award winning speaker, and a speaker's coach. And one of the things that she talks about is the importance of practice. And that's really true. Now, we've all told a lot of stories, but maybe we don't necessarily do it consciously. So, let's spend some more time, you know, specifically working on telling the story that you want to tell. And once you've gotten really good at telling the story, then what I recommend is that you pick one, two, three different morals or points to that story. Because oftentimes you can tell a story, and the point of that story, it depends on the situation. I just talked in my Facebook, I told a story about some situations that I was dealing with the car. And, I said that this is something that could be used to demonstrate the importance of friendships. It can be something that's used to demonstrate how small businesses can really make a difference in a person's life, in their customers' lives when they're really committed. It can also be used to show the importance of persistence. So every story has multiple points. We tell the story, and then it's up to you as the author of that story to tell the listener what it means. It's up to you to do that, which is really cool because it means that you get to be the author of your own story. It's really awesome. So, what I suggest that you do is pick 3 different morals or points. Practice telling that after you've practiced, you've gotten really good at telling that story, and then practice making that story apply to all of them. How do you tell the story about the time that you thought you weren't going to make a goal and at the last possible minute you did it? And then how do we make that a story about persistence? How do we make that a story about attitude? How do we make that a story about preparedness? Right? Try it all 3 different ways and do this over and over again. And when you practice that enough time, so you'll realize that you're really good at telling, you get much better at telling stories. You get much better at telling stories that are impromptu as well. All right. Thanks for listening today. Guys, storytelling is super important. We are going to have some storytelling workshops through Green Cow. We worked on planning those with some really awesome volunteers last week. It was fantastic. So I'm really excited to bring those to you. Thank you for watching. We are going to be doing a free resume workshop with Green Cow here starting Thursday, but that's kind of my practice. If you'd like to be involved, I'd love to have you. If not, you'll see the real thing coming next month if you don't have time this month. As always, send me a message if you'd like to learn more about storytelling or you'd like to learn more about anything it is that we do. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.